Hi, this is Lucy and welcome back to my channel. I'm glad you've joined me today. I'm making some really quick and easy teacher appreciation cards today. So I'm going to show you how to make these three really fast. They're fairly similar in design, just a few tweaks here and there to make them look different so that if you're handing them out to different teachers, they won't think they're the same. So I've just gone through my old papers to see what's suitable for this type of theme. And then I've also created these images on a Word document. And most of the images that I get are from Creative Fabrica. And I'll put a link to them in the description below. And then I've added the sentiment and also some of the little scenes I've put together, but that's very easy to do. Now here I've, because it's gone through the die cutting machine, there's a little bit of debris from the last dies that I've used, and so I'm just using my old rubber there, and that gets that off very easily. Now, if you don't have any suitable papers, you can always use black, white, or primary colors. They always work best, I think, for teacher cards. I'm not sure why, maybe the whole art aspect of it. So anyway, if you don't have any die cuts as well and a die cutting machine, you can also do this. So I'm just using my ruler and a craft knife, and I'm using the craft mat behind to make sure that it's fairly straight. And once I take this away, then I can see that I've got a little bit more extra white space on the top and on the right hand side, so I'll just take off a slither as well. And that's just another way of creating exactly the same thing. It doesn't have the stitching around it, so the die cuts do finish it off nicely, but they're not necessary if you don't have them. And so now I'll just go through these papers and see what suits what. And I really like the little children on that bright coloured one. And I do like these two papers to go with these two. So we'll get started on making these cards. And I didn't speed it up very much, and I didn't stop the camera from rolling very often, only when I lost my scissors and things. So as you can see, I made these, all three of them, within about half an hour, actually even quicker. So I'm using my double-sided tape on cards, and I always take off this side that's opposite to the folded side of the card, because that way I can measure it up to make sure that there's no white parts showing on the folded part, because if you have white bits showing at the bottom of the card where it's open anyway, you can actually just cut them off and no one will notice if it's just a little bit skew-whiff. So here it's quite thin paper that I've used, but it's a very high resolution paper for printing. So what I'm going to do is just put it on top of a red cardstock, which is really, really thick. And then I'm just going to cut around it. I'm eyeballing it. It doesn't have to be perfect, because people look at the overall card at the end. They don't look at each individual little bit. So it's fine not to have to measure everything. And if you want to make nice quick cards like this, and if you're new to card making and you just thought that you would like to send and make one for a teacher, these are so quick and easy. So I was going to put it on straight, and then I kind of liked it crooked, so I was deciding which was better for this card, and I do like it where it's on a slant like that. So now I'm going to start on the next card, because that one's basically done. And this one's going to be very similar style as well, but it'll come out a bit different. Now I noticed I fold my own cards and score them, and it was a little bit crooked. So all I've done is go back over it again to make sure that the bottoms are straight at the end. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I've used my double-sided tape, do the bottom part of the card, and then I'm going to match the papers up to the top part of the card so that I know that there's no white space showing. And then I'll just cut around it. This way you don't need to cut your papers to fit your card. You put it on first and then you cut it to fit. So this is a nice and easy way of making sure that the whole card front is covered. But yeah, it doesn't take you very long at all. So I feel like I didn't want this one to sit right flat, but I didn't want to mount it onto cardstock like I did with the other one, because otherwise I would lose, because this part is a little bit bigger than the other image that I used, I would be losing too much of that background paper, and I really liked it. So what I've done here is just some thicker white card. I've just cut 2 pieces to sit behind it. You can also use foam tape, but for this video I decided to show you how to just cut around quickly so that you can just add them to the back of any sort of images or embellishments, and this way it gives you a little bit of height between the 2 papers so that it stands out a little more. It's coming up to Teachers' Day in America. It's on the 2nd of May, whereas the rest of the world, or most of the world, celebrated on the 5th of October. And here in Australia, it is on the 27th of October. So just in case you were thinking of sending one to a teacher, there's some dates for you. So I was looking at whether I could make this more of a portrait card, but I just didn't feel like it was going to suit very well. So I've decided to do another landscape card instead. And this time I decided to leave a little bit of a white border to have it a little bit different, which means that you either have to cut the paper or die cut it like I have, rather than putting it straight on the card itself. So then I was trying to think about how I could make this one a little bit different, and how this would work, because there's quite a lot of black in this image. So I decided to cut around it, leaving a little white border around and jiggling the scissors around. I moved the image rather than the scissors, but I didn't want any straight lines on it. But I felt like this, having that white border matched with the card having the white border as well. So I did want to bring in some more black into the card because of the blackboard look, but I felt like the red just brightened it up and made it look nicer than the black. The black just made it look a little bit dull. So again, I'm just going to mount this onto the red paper, and when I do this I always make sure to use clean sides, not this sort of side where I've cut it a little bit wonky. I make sure to use the actual factory cut sides instead, just in case. Sometimes it'll look straight and then when you put it on it doesn't. So now I'm just going to attach this to the card, and then that's 3 cards done. I hope you've enjoyed having a look at how this is done and given you some ideas. I have sort of been having a think about trying to show how I do the images on the computer and print them up. So if anybody's interested, please let me know, and I will try to get around to that. Thanks again for watching, and if you feel like subscribing and liking this video, I would appreciate it very much. Have a great day. Bye.